adulthood is hard. It's full of sharp lines and rough edges and all these expectations, and we go through life making decisions, and we have to be tough and be whatever it is. And I feel like I've been live action role playing as an adult since I was 12 years ago. So I wonder, when people say, be a child, be young, or find that child in you, what does that really mean? Because I think for us, and all of us in the room, finding those moments of play are our guilty pleasures. But if that's what it's like to be an adult, it makes me think of my future and what it's going to be. Doing the same thing day in and day out and living in guilty pleasures of little moments of play. And I kind of think that our inner child is our little spirits, and if we don't nurture them, they fly away. So, and as kids, we're told to dream big. We're told to dream big because as adults, we could live up to our potential. These kids are my kids. I tell them to dream big because they're not really my kids. But I tell them to dream big because the adults that in their lives tell them that they're dumb or stupid or whatever. So I lived and worked at a children's shelter in Hue for 5 years. And there, me and the kids, we lived together, ate together, and relationships were blended and meshed, and age didn't really matter to us, no matter what our status or role or relationship was. So, for example, when we went to sell our old clothes at the local market on the street, like the locals, but we were instead caught by the police because you're technically not allowed to do that. That's illegal, and we had to go back to the children's shelter, and I was like, guys, don't tell the house mothers what we did. And I was shelter deputy director at the time. So we, as executive director of the NGO, I decided to turn it back, give back the NGO and the shelter to the kids. It's really their world, and I wanted them to believe that they could do whatever they wanted to do right then and there at 6 years old, 7 years old, 9, 20, whatever. So everything that I learned in graduate school or as an adult, we taught the kids. Design thinking, community asset building, yoga, because my kids need mindfulness too, like all of us. And we believed in age mixing. So kids from 6 to 22 years old, they worked together. And big brothers and sisters taught their little ones, and they worked together as a team to create solutions for their community. This little one is Duck. He contributed a lot, that little guy. And so I asked them to do a design challenge to find solutions for their community, because that's what we as adults do. And so I taught them to do empathy research. They, as locals in their community, they went to a different village and went to the market to research and understand their community. So they went into a market, like 30 little kids, and all the ladies were like, what? And they were so nervous, but they went and they asked and they observed and they opened their eyes to the community that they'd been living in but never really saw. And so I asked them to create projects for their community, and they did a 2-week training in which they came up with different projects, and we had a big celebration for them, and they presented in front of the entire community with all the adults about what they were doing. There were 6 projects in total. The entire thing was done by kids, and we literally just invited all of the adults to sit down and be like, this is what we've done for the past 2 weeks, and admire us. So that was the beginning of the leadership program that took me 4 years to build with these kids. And they were amazing. This is one of the projects, and one of the projects was to build a chicken coop with this very local family. So they learned about the chickens, and they learned about how to build, and they all went, during the process of 6 months, built a chicken coop for a specific family to grow the economy. And then another one of the projects was about the environment. So the kids planned where to go pick up trash and how to convince the community to do it. And they went and they executed all of the ideas that they thought up all by themselves. This one is Thai. He says hello. And another project is dealing with economy. So they learned about trees and they learned about the specific fruit that grew in that region and how they could grow more and plant more and sell more for those specific families in that village. So then 7 months later, it went to this huge event, Vietnamese that has a lot of meaning, little seedlings, and we invited 300 members of the small Hue community to come and watch the kids present and give their projects that they created from idea all the way to execution. And this is them. These little ones, they were a separate group themselves, and they presented to 300 people, kids and adults and government officials and just all the people who were so surprised and was like, they did all of that? This is my family. These are my kids, and we tell them to dream big, and we tell them to dream big because we want them to believe that they can do whatever it is that they can do. And so if we tell them to dream big as an adult, I think for the kids, being an adult is little bits of guilty pleasure because they can believe that they can do whatever they want to do at whatever age. So if being an adult means living on guilty pleasures, then I'd rather hold on to my stuffed animal and my dreams.